A reminder, the news doesn't end here. Here's what's coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
A new report says that you are more likely to face crime on Charlotte's rapid transit system than many other cities in the country. We'll break down that report coming up.
The snow is stopped, but we have another day of school closures and delays across the Charlotte area. Coming up, how CMS and child care centers make those calls with safety in mind.
Plus, officials still urging caution with ice and snow lingering on many secondary roads.
It's not something that's going to take a day or 2 days to clear.
How long NCDOT says it could take before things are back to normal.
And winter weather isn't the only thing driving up your energy costs.
Why your power bill might be spiking and what you can do about it. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
All right, I-85 at mile marker 46. That's out near Mallard Creek. Lots of people up and starting their day. Like to see no rat on my map, but we do still have a handful of crashes that we'll be covering for you on WCNC Plus. One thing to know before you go, it's right here, Sandy Ford Road at Stanley Lucia Road. I'm seeing delays coming in all over, but people are just traveling very slowly out in this area as roads are still completely slick and iced over. So just because I-77 and I-485 look okay, just keep in mind other spots are still going to be troublesome. All right, Chris.
Okay, so a couple of spots to point out. Number one, we're going to have rain by tomorrow. High of 47 today, cooler tomorrow with cloudy skies, but that rain will change over to a chance for sleet and snow Wednesday evening. I think the bigger refreeze problem is going to be Friday. After that, up and down through the 40s, and we should be in the lower 60s the middle of next week.
Well, how about that?
60s.
Wow.
We'll focus on that.
For sure. All right, folks, make sure you join us streaming live on WCNC Plus.
streaming live right now at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday morning on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Thanks for streaming live with us. We start things off with a check of your forecast on this Tuesday. Chris joins us now with the details.
Thanks a lot, Lisa. Ben, temperatures right now 23 degrees, 22 around Hickory, 22 for you in Rock Hill. Notice the background here, clouds taking over. Rock Hill, you were down in the teens, but then cloud cover moved in. That actually beams some of the warmer air that escaped from the surface back at us. And it is a very cold start, but letting you know, it was much warmer not too long ago. 69 degrees. That's right. 1 year ago on February 3rd, we were 69 degrees. Today we have 47, still below the normal of 54. But here's that cloud cover. Still some loose decks down here towards the south, and eventually we're going to have a lot more of that cloud cover on and off throughout today. There still will be some signs of sunshine, but all in all, the clouds are definitely winning out. And then that leads us to our big weather question mark heading into your Wednesday evening. Wednesday, you see rain. It's cold rain in the 40s, turning to the 30s, but we then have a change over to snow, then sleet. Freezing rain's a possibility, but snow and sleet accumulations I do think happen across the area. Earlier, by the way, I was featuring some of your snowman picks for the Snowman Awards. Check this out. This is done by Eva's granddaughter and grandson, Snowbella to the right, and then we also had an 8.5-foot snowman. That's incredible. How did you do that? That is awesome. And I even featured this even with a terrible towel. I also want to show you this. Paula Wolf and then Brandon Bergen. Great set of snowmen, and two of them are upside down. So I thought that was a nice little feature. But focusing in on what we're going to be seeing for our next wet weather system, we do have a chance for a little bit of rain later on tonight. Then it's likely Wednesday, and Wednesday night is really the iffy part that we have going here. This isn't a huge event. However, some of us in the area of our 22 counties will be seeing at least a little bit of coating of snow, I think even up and over an inch. So here's what it looks like. We have clouds taking over today. Here comes the signs of rain. Note, any rain that we have, any sort of moisture will eventually freeze because temperatures will be back below freezing on Wednesday night, but then certainly on Thursday night, it's the deeper freeze that we have returning. So rain not necessarily a good thing. It's also kind of ruining our snow. Rain really starts to take over once we get to Wednesday afternoon, but we still have signs for on and off rain overnight tonight. In between here, I think there will be a little bit of a lull, but the wettest part really looks to be Wednesday afternoon into the Wednesday evening time frame. And I think we actually even have some moderate rain that's falling right here around Charlotte closer to 6 o'clock. But notice what's happening in the north. At that point, it's changing over to what's I like to refer to as a white rain. So I think it's really accumulating almost as rain, but it looks like snow that's coming down. And then eventually I think we'll start to see some snow accumulations as temperatures start to drop. Then we have a changeover between either freezing rain or sleet. I think sleet's going to win out here. So we could have some sleet and snow accumulations, especially north of Charlotte. And then we start to see some lingering flurries on the backside of this. So I think you see snowflakes regardless. It's just going to be a balance where we have that kind of cutoff on the I-85 corridor if you're seeing more sleet or if you're seeing more rain. Regardless, I still think you have at least a chance for a tenth or two of sleet or snow accumulation. So once this system passes, we're down to 40 degrees, still some freezing temperatures, but 23 on Friday I think is where we really solidify things all over again. Then we have the lower 50s on Friday and Saturday, a little bit of a cool down for Super Bowl Sunday, and check it out, mid-50s on Monday, even a chance at the 60s the middle of the following week. Not too bad. Pretty good looking Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. All right, let's see how our morning commute is starting off here on WCNC Plus. Good morning to you, Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. Let's do it. Area roadway is starting to get busy. This is I-85. They're at mile marker 46 out near Mallard Creek. Our roads on I-85 still looking all right. And typically between the 7 and 8 o'clock hour on a normal day where we have school and we have work and we don't have snow on the ground, we would see a ton of red starting to pop up on my map, but right now it's mainly green. However, it's not perfect. Still following a few things for you to know about. This crash here is going to be north of Mount Holly. It's here on Sandy Ford Road at Stanley Lucia Road. So some delays there, and that's likely a spot where those roads are still snow covered. Remember, just because some neighborhoods look okay, other areas still really dealing with bad conditions. Another accident here. It's on Harris Boulevard at Rocky River Road. Still seeing some minor delays, but nothing too significant. Those are two things that you need to know for now. I'm going to give you another update on what I'm looking at here coming up soon. Guys.
All right, now to a breaking news update we're following for you this morning. The search now underway for a Salisbury man who was shot by an officer. The whole situation started yesterday just before noon on Sandalwood Court. Newton police responded to a 911 trespassing call. While searching, police say 18-year-old Amon Henderson charged at them. He was shot in the leg and hospitalized at Baptist Hospital in Winston-Salem. But police tell us he was released from the hospital without their knowledge. There are now multiple warrants out for his arrest. They say he's considered to be armed and dangerous. If you know where he might be, call police immediately.
A new safety audit finds 18 areas where Charlotte's transit system is falling short. The Federal Transit Administration has been investigating CAT's safety measures following the stabbing death of Irina Zarutska on the light rail last year. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us live this morning. He's along the light rail in South End with a breakdown of that report and how city leaders are responding. Richard.
Yeah, Lisa, good morning to you. Good morning, Ben. A good Tuesday morning, everyone. That report was launched after the tragic death of Irina Zarutska. But as far as CATS is concerned, it says that folks who ride this transit system are in have worse safety conditions than if they rode many other transit systems around the country. It was a scathing federal audit that's put Charlotte's area transit system leadership under intense scrutiny. They say serious safety failures, including inside CATS, puts riders and employees, I should say, at risk. And they're demanding immediate action. The Federal Transit Administration audit is what I'm talking about. It identifies 18 major violations, including weak security planning, poor tracking of safety threats, and failures to properly train staff how to handle violent situations. The review launched after the fatal stabbing on the Lynx Blue Line of Irina Zarutska, and investigators found violence on Charlotte's transit system is now 3 times the national average, with assaults on the transit workers 5 times higher than similar systems around the country. Federal officials call the problematic systematic warnings. They reflect on years of what they call breakdowns and oversights and accountability. City leaders say more patrols and security measures are already underway, but now federal regulators are making it clear. They say these changes must happen fast, or the CATS could face some serious consequences.
We can have committees, we can have a plan, but it's not enough to just have a plan on paper. We need real changes that people can see and feel when they ride. This report is not about blame, it's about identifying problems and fixing them.
And now CATS has about 30 days to get back to the FDA, or else they could risk losing some federal funding. Of course, this is something we'll be speaking to CATS officials about and bringing those answers right to you. We're right here in the South End. Richard Devane, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks. Right now, CMPD is investigating a deadly crash in Northeast Charlotte. Happened last night on North Tryon, not too far from University City Boulevard. Officers shut down Clark Boulevard to Brookside Lane for a number of hours as they gathered evidence. The cause of the crash is still unknown. As we speak, one person currently fighting for their life after a shooting in Northeast Charlotte. We're told it happened by Merlane Drive, just off West Sugar Creek Road. That's next to an apartment complex. Right now, we do not know what led up to that shooting. All right, let's go to some live pictures right now at I-85 mile marker 46 near Mallard Creek. Traffic moving smoothly right now as those lanes are cleared up from Saturday's snow. Most part, the interstates are looking pretty good this morning. However, there's this. Lots of snow, lots of ice still lingering on secondary roads. We took this video. This is actually from this morning in South End, a fairly main road there. So that gives you some indication. Once you get off the big roads, the major thoroughfares and interstates, a lot of roads still look like this out there. And NCDOT says even as conditions improve in some areas, their work continues behind the scenes.
The crews are rotating through routes. They're checking roads, applying salt and brine, and responding to any new issues that pop up. Bridges, overpasses, and those elevated roads continue to be a top priority since they can ice over quickly, even when the surrounding roads look fine.
It's not something that's going to take a day or 2 days to clear. We're talking maybe towards the end of the week, possibly, if we continue to see temperatures that aren't very warm. I mean, it is warming and melting some, but then anything that melts and doesn't completely dry freezes again. And then we have the black ice that is a hazard in the morning.
NCDOT says drivers should continue to use caution, especially on back roads and during the overnight hours, and make sure that you leave space for the crews to help improve the road conditions. A major standoff in Washington is colliding with growing unrest in Minneapolis, while the pressure is building on Homeland Security. Next.
And a reminder, Scouting for Food is underway, and this is our 34th year teaming up with the Scouts to do it. This week, they're going to be dropping off door tags. If you get one, they'll be back on Saturday to pick it up. Just leave your items in a bag at your doorstep by 9 a.m. And if you didn't get a door tag, you can still help. Text Scout for Food to 50155 to make a monetary donation.
.12 now. Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus. A live look of Uptown. Doesn't it look beautiful right now? Here's the thing, 23 degrees. The winds are calm, thankfully, so it feels like 23. Chris is going to join us in just a few moments with an update on our forecast, including the chance for rain later in the week.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem now says all federal officers in the field in Minneapolis will be issued body cameras. It's one of the conditions Democrats have been demanding as part of a funding fight that has 70% of the federal government shut down.
NBC's Alice Barr has the latest as tensions remain high, and the House Speaker is confident that shutdown will end today.
The push is on today to pull the federal government out of a partial shutdown, with some federal workers furloughed once again. House Speaker Mike Johnson sounding confident he'll have the votes to change that.
We got FEMA and TSA and troop pay and everything else wrapped into this, so we've got to get the job done.
The House will be in order.
The House is set to vote today on a Senate-passed package that fully funds most of the government, but the Department of Homeland Security gets just 2 weeks of funding and a tall task in that time for lawmakers to negotiate reforms to immigration enforcement, with Democrats calling for dramatic changes amid unrest over the shooting deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy by federal officers in Minnesota.
The American people are correctly demanding accountability. The American people want to see the mask come off.
One demand already met as the Homeland Security Secretary announced body cameras for all federal immigration officers in Minneapolis, with plans to expand that nationwide as funding allows. President Trump backing the move.
They generally tend to be good for law enforcement because people can't lie about what's happening.
while also calling on both sides to pass the funding package with no changes and promising to work together to address issues raised. Though reaching agreement on the future of ICE won't be easy, with Republicans not backing down on their immigration crackdown.
The Democrats want to throw out these ridiculous proposals that make it harder for ICE to do their job. That's just not going to happen.
The hope now to avoid a prolonged standoff. Several leading Democrats called the move to issue body cameras a good start, but they want that policy written and signed into law. Republican Lisa Murkowski agreed, citing an erosion of trust between Congress and the administration, part of the challenge with a tight timeline to find reforms that 60 senators and the House can agree on. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
The partial federal government shutdown is not expected to disrupt tax season, at least not this week. The Internal Revenue Service says its nearly 75,000 employees will continue working through February 7th. The agency says staff members are being paid through the Inflation Reduction Act. What happens after February 7th, though, is still not clear. During last fall's record-long shutdown, the IRS initially kept all employees working.
A Virginia jury has found former IRS agent Brendan Banfield guilty of murder in a case prosecutors say involved a conspiracy with his Brazilian au pair to kill his wife and a stranger. Banfield was charged with 4 counts of aggravated murder and using a firearm in the commission of a felony in connection with the killings in 2023. Because of the aggravated murder convictions, Banfield's expected to spend the rest of his life in prison.
Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have agreed to testify in a House investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. The two initially refused to appear after being subpoenaed, along with several former Justice Department officials. The House Oversight Committee advanced contempt resolutions against them before the Clintons agreed to cooperate. It's still unclear when and where they will testify, and Bill Clinton has denied any wrongdoing.
With temperatures in the 20s, snow still on the ground. Today might be the great day to go ahead and book your next travel. We'll tell you why today is that right day.
Officially halfway done, that's what Groundhog Day represents. So I want to get to some of the Groundhog reports just in case you missed it. Now, we are slowly getting them throughout the time. We even went live right here on WCNC Plus when Punxsutawney Phil said 6 more weeks of winter. Buckeye Chuck is the only one of really the big ones that said Spring is right around the corner. Staten Island, Chuck, by the way, has been deemed the most reliable, an 85% success rate of predicting if winter stays or spring comes early. And General Beauregard Lee says 6 more weeks of winter, but I can bring a little bit more local. Pretty much every state has a groundhog. We used to have one here in Charlotte. Well, we have Snurd from Garner, North Carolina. He said 6 more weeks of winter. Meanwhile, Tater from Chimney Rock said right around the corner spring is, so that's good news there. However, Tater also gives the Super Bowl predictions and said the Seahawks are going to win. So we'll see. I believe Tater when it comes to spring being around the corner, but we'll see about the Super Bowl. Our temperatures are going to be up and down in the near term, right around 40 degrees on Thursday. We'll see a little rebound back in the lower 50s on Friday and Saturday, before we cool off for Super Bowl Sunday, speaking of. And check out where we're going. Right around 55 degrees on Monday. Here's the best optimism I have for you, is we are trending up. Temperatures in the lower 60s for the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th of February, leading up to Valentine's Day. So things are getting a lot more warm. We're finally breaking this cold pattern that's been locked here in place, but we're still going to have some freezing lows in the near term. So we have a chance for a little wintry mix, but the concern I have is really on Friday, where we're going to have the biggest refreeze, and that's what we've been seeing. It's usually a day or two after the event that you have our coldest temperatures that we have some of the worst black ice. Now, sunshine will start to evaporate things heading into your Thursday, but we're pretty much, besides tonight. Tonight is actually the first above freezing low that we've had since January 23rd. So it's been over a week since we've had a low above freezing. Of course, our highs have been. And then once you get to next Tuesday, 35 and the 40s. So above freezing lows take over for multiple days in a row. As far as our precipitation chances, it could come back a little bit later on the back end of our 10-day forecast, but it's primarily just going to be that Tuesday into Wednesday timeframe where we're at today, where I think it's especially Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. Again, for my recap, I think you might have a couple of tenths of accumulation as far as snow and sleet. And then meanwhile, further north, northwest you go, could have up to an inch of snow close to the mountains. I'll show you that at the top of the next half hour, exactly how much winter precip that you could see when it's all said and done and its timing. But first, let's see how your morning commute is timing out with Majestic.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is what I-45 is looking like right now. Nice, dry conditions. This is out near Mount Holly Road. Not seeing any problems whatsoever there. That's what we like to see. Now, typically on a normal day when lots of people are heading off to work, kids are heading to school, we would have a ton of red. Right now, we're actually looking at a lot of green, but it's still not perfect. Here's our newest crash. It's just going to be south of Uptown on Selwyn Ave at Runnymede Lane and Woodlawn Road. Could be a little bit of a delay, but I'm not seeing anything significant with that. Been following this crash for over an hour now. This is just north of Mount Holly, Sandy Ford Road at Stanley Lucia Road. Make sure you take it easy, especially if you're driving on those back roads. That's where we're still seeing a thick layer of ice and snow. Then finally, this here is going to be on Harris Boulevard at Rocky River Road. Again, some yellow, but I think people are just really driving for the conditions, driving around the crash, and of course, just taking it easy for their Tuesday morning commute. Those are a few important things to know before you go. We'll have another check on those roads coming up soon.
Well, today is National Take a Cruise Day, a reminder to start dreaming about that next getaway on the water.
The day encourages travelers to explore cruise options, whether you're a first-timer or someone who already loves life at sea. Cruises have evolved over the decades into floating vacations with something for everyone. Supporters say they offer easy planning, built-in entertainment, and a chance to truly unplug. So if you've been craving an escape, today might be the perfect time to chart your course.
I think that you hear about Hallmark holidays. I think this is a Carnival Cruise Line holiday. I think this is made up.
Like
I think this might be a made up holiday.
In February, you
Sponsored
think?
by Royal Caribbean.
Yeah.
But hey,
Sounds nice to be out on one.
yeah, no, absolutely, especially in weather like this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, no, cruises are great. They're expensive though, and
They are expensive.
It's tough for a lot of people. So, but hey, if you can book one, especially in weather like this,
Have at it.
that's right.
You can see a lot of places in a short amount of time.
That's right.
This is true.
It can be exhausting though, because like if you truly want to take advantage of it, then it's just like, all right, I got bingo at 7, I got dancing at 8, I
There's
gotta
a
get on the
ton.
boat.
Plan an itinerary line by
It's an
line.
efficient use of your vacation time. Though,
I've never been on one, and my sister just invited me to go on one, so I'm going, and she sent me the itinerary, and there's tons of things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're busy the whole
Like,
time.
oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
you're busy
There's
the
a
whole
lot
time.
to do.
A lot of food too.
All right, live pictures right now over Uptown, 23 degrees. Somehow this has become normal here.
Right?
That's great.
When did this happen?
There was a time when 23 was like really problematic for us, and now we're like, oh, it's 23.
We were like 23.
Ooh.
Now we're like, yeah, it's Tuesday. 23, of course. What else? Keep it right here. Another check of your weather impact forecast right after the break.
Well, good morning. Temperatures reaching the mid-40s today. We still have some of those icy back roads, secondary and tertiary roads, just depending on where you are. And then you have mostly cloudy to overcast skies on and off throughout the day, at least a little bit on the warmer side. And speaking of warmer, this is our first above freezing low we've had since January 23rd, so it's been over a week. We'll be back around freezing on Thursday, and then Friday even colder, more of a deep freeze. And we also have some rain. Yeah, since temperatures are above freezing for the most part, we have a very cold rain. Could be a few sleet pellets that mix in, especially north of I-40, but on and off rain possible, especially south of I-85. This really starts to take over once you get to your Wednesday afternoon and could change over to a wintry mix Wednesday evening. Light accumulations back to 50 on Friday. Majestic, take it away. What's going on?
All right, good morning, everyone. This is what your morning commute will look like if you take I-485. This is out near mile marker 20 near Harris Boulevard. You can see how dry the roads are, snow off to the side. Still be very careful if you're traveling, though, especially on those neighborhood streets. That's where we're seeing big problems still. Still a handful of ongoing wrecks. We're covering everything for you on WCNC Plus, but you need to know about this. It's on Selwyn Ave at Runnymede Lane, where there is a car in the middle of the street.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Right now, leftover snow and ice still causing problems. Many school districts remain closed or on remote learning.
And child care centers also navigating those same challenges as many of the school districts. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us live. She's in West Charlotte with what goes into making those decisions. Destiny.
Yeah, even though the snow has stopped falling, the impacts are still being felt across our area. CMS has once again confirmed that today they're closing or putting some schools on remote learning today. And it's really not just because of the winter weather, but they say that the roads simply aren't safe for buses, staff, and students to come in safely. Now, district leaders say this is because of safety, with crews continuing to clear ice and debris from campuses and checking bus routes across the county. CMS says several factors go into whether schools close, delay, or go remote, including temperatures, visibility, and the condition of neighborhood streets and main roads. Those same challenges are also facing child care providers and preschools like Leaf Spring Schools. Crews there are working to clear parking lots, sidewalks, and walkways, but ice remains a major concern.
It's a little bit challenging because there's a shortage of ice melt. And so what we're finding is that we're talking to our directors, we're in contact with some of our parents, we're driving the roads ourselves around the school. So that gives us a lens for how the parents and children can get to work safely.
And we did just learn from Leaf Spring Schools this morning that its South Charlotte locations will open at 10 o'clock this morning, and the Cornelius location will open at 10:30. So just like school districts, decisions made on a day-by-day basis, depending on the conditions outside. Of course, if you want to know whether your child's school or preschool is on delay or closed today or on remote learning, we have an updated list, those updates coming minute by minute on our website and on the WCNC mobile app. I'll send it back to you guys live here from West Charlotte.
All right, Destiny, thanks. Right now, Concord Police investigating a deadly shooting where 4 people were shot. Take a look at this map. It happened Sunday night. We're going to show it to you on Farrington Drive Northwest. That's just off Davidson Highway. Officers tell us they found 2 people dead and 2 others injured. Now they're asking anyone with information to come forward.
An investigation is underway as we speak after an Amtrak train that was headed to Charlotte collided with a car in Landis. Police tell us it happened just after 6 p.m. Monday on Ryder Avenue near Main Street. They say the driver escaped from the car just before that collision. No one was hurt. We have learned that train continued on its route after a 2.5-hour delay.
You may have seen this video over the last several days. It's the moment a train hit a semi in Gastonia. It happened during this week's snowstorm. Luckily, the driver escaped safely. Railroad officials and law enforcement, though, say if you find yourself in this situation, contact the emergency notification system that you see right there on those blue signs. But some say they wouldn't even have noticed the sign. To think about it.
I don't know if anybody is going to sit there and call a phone while, a train is coming. I'm thinking about saving my life first.
Think about that. No, the sign's too small. They need to make it bigger. That's what I would do.
I didn't even know about these blue signs. Railroad officials reminding drivers to stay alert, never race a train, and always look for those signs. A new scam alert this morning. If you own a home in Gaston County, listen up. Officials say thieves are sending fake invoices requesting payment for zoning permits. These invoices may show the county's name, logo, letterhead. They look really official. They ask folks to wire money. If you receive a notice, do not send money or share your personal or financial information. Instead, contact the county to verify.
All right, 7:34. Now let's check back in with Chris to find out more about our forecast.
Hey, thanks a lot, Lisa. So 47 is our high today. 54 is where we should be, so we're still not reaching that mark. We have been below average pretty much for 2 weeks now. But 1 year ago, there was an epic warm-up. We were close to 70 degrees. However, this gives us one more day for the kids to get out and play in the snow. Coming up, actually, for the next time you see me, I'm going to show you more of your snowman pictures. These and there, even snow women that are out there as well. Build a snowman forecast. I think that window is pretty much closing, especially once we get some of that rain on top of it. That's not going to be really helpful. The snow was really slushy and easier to make a snowman yesterday. JT, Kim, and I made one. It was adorable, and hopefully you did as well, so you can still send them to me on my Facebook page, but I will be trying to feature some of your snow creations on and off throughout the stream now until about 9 o'clock. But if you still want to enjoy it in the fun, it's very rare for us to get this much snow to make it this easy to make a snowman. One of them was even 8.5 feet tall, so wow status. As far as the rain goes, we're seeing anywhere from a 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, most likely across the Charlotte area. But the further south and east you go, there's a chance about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. That's sizable. So that is going to allow a lot of water to be on the roads, and it's also going to be messing with some of the snow. Now, temperatures are above freezing with that, so that's the good news I have for you. But eventually, we will drop below freezing. That could lead to its own problems. So today, 47, still some of the leftover ice, but once you get a little bit of the sunshine, that's going to help out. But today is not going to be as sunny as it otherwise was 2 days ago, and even yesterday with clouds rolling through, still more upper level clouds, so you saw a decent amount of sunshine. On and off today is going to be a mostly cloudy to a overcast one, so the rays of sun will help out, but just not as beneficial as the last couple of days. But at least temperatures are at least 15 degrees above normal. Overnight, we're also above freezing, so that's going to be helpful as well. Just because our air temperature is at 37 doesn't mean that you just still don't have freezing surfaces. It takes a lot for that really to thaw out. Really won't really see until next week to really have a better impact as far as getting rid of some of that ice. But what I'm concerned about is once this system rolls through, 23 degrees on Friday, that's going to be a little problematic. Let's get right to your futurecast. We're going to have a chance for rain a little bit later on this evening, but I think it's more so through the early morning hours. We could have a couple of wet bus stops. Now, that's only if the kids are indeed going back to school. And then we'll hit a couple of lulls before that rain really comes back. I think it's late morning heading into the early afternoon. And this is why we have the heavier rain down towards the south. That's where a majority of this is going to be. And that rain, I think, could even be moderate to heavy at times. If you change temperatures closer to freezing, now we're talking about rain quickly changing over to snow. I think a lot of this starts to fall as white rain, but eventually we'll start to get a quick accumulation from Morganton up to around Hickory and Boone. Then we start to see rain change over to more sleet. I think you could have anywhere from a rain-snow mix to sleet as the main profile, and that's mid to late evening hours. So temperatures, I think, likely around that freezing point at that point, and then you're going to see some leftover flurries on the back end. So that will lead to some impacts on your Wednesday evening. So I would try to avoid travel at that point if you can, because you don't know the way some of those roads are going to be, because some of them already aren't all that great. But as I mentioned, temperatures only dropping down to around freezing on Thursday. It's that 23 that really solidifies things. Luckily, we have some sunshine to evaporate some of that moisture, and then we start to see the beginnings of a warm-up. We have the lower 50s, cooler for Super Bowl Sunday, and then a super big jump back to 55, even the lower 60s, a majority of next week. So we're almost there, y'all. Still kind of in the refrigerator for the time being, though. All right, Majestic, you've been seeing some quieter starts. Is that still the same status?
Yeah, not perfect, but nothing too extreme, so we'll take what we can get. Wanted to show you this camera. This one's coming in from Boone out there on King Street. Frozen right now, but you can tell the main street there not looking bad. It's really going to be those neighborhood roads, even in and around Charlotte. That's really the watch spot where it is still a thick layer of ice and snow. This is I-485, not looking bad. This is going to be out near mile marker 20. That's out near Harris Boulevard. All the snow still off to the side. Typically on a normal day, we would have a lot of red as we are now nearing that 8 o'clock hour. We don't have that, but again, it's not perfect. One new thing that I want to let you know about, it's going to be right here, South Boulevard, northbound between I-485 and East and Westinghouse Boulevard. A new accident just reported, and then just to the north of it, just saw a picture of this. There's just a car in the middle of the street as there was just a recent accident. It's going to be south of Uptown. This is Selwyn Ave at Runnymede Lane. We'll keep you up to date with those two things, and I'll show you a couple other things that I'm watching for you very carefully coming up soon. Guys.
Security preparations in Milan tightening with the Winter Olympics now just days away. See what Italian police are doing as part of a major push for safety.
think the age is the thing that makes it, special for me at such a young age and cherish such a moment of playing this game. But really, I think the age is the thing to worry about. It's about winning the game and enjoying this time with my teammates.
That was Charlotte native and New England Patriots quarterback Drake May. He enters Super Bowl 60 as the second youngest quarterback to ever start the big game. Monday night was opening night in the Bay Area, kicking off a week of festivities leading up to Sunday, of course, and the Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks will take on the New England Patriots on Sunday at Levi's Stadium. It starts at 6:30, and you can watch it on WCNC Charlotte.
Beads and bourbon on the bayou, the city of New Orleans, gearing up for its biggest celebration of the year, Mardi Gras, even as leaders there work to keep the streets safe. Keep in mind, after that violent New Year's Eve incident in 2025 and a recent Mardi Gras parade shooting in Clinton, Louisiana, safety is top of mind for city officials.
The efforts that we are taking are to ensure that there are no major accidents, that there are no major acts of violence. And so all of these are really major preventative measures that we're taking. And it's in true partnership and collaboration that we're doing all of this.
Although events have already began, Mardi Gras is officially 2 weeks from today, February 17th.
Security preparations in Milan are ramping up with just days to go until the 2026 Winter Olympics kicks off. The Italian State Police placing dog units and bomb disposal teams at the forefront. Those units operate in public order support and surveillance, narcotics detection, explosives detection, and search and rescue. Working alongside them are the bomb disposal officers who carry out preventive inspections and clearance procedures. Police say the joint work of the K-9 teams and the bomb technicians form a key pillar of the security system. Now, the Winter Olympics, of course, which you can watch on NBC, WCNC Charlotte, of course, will feature a team of 82 commentators covering the games. That roster includes Olympians and Paralympians, combined with 41 medals and many of NBC's familiar Olympic voices. More than 2,600 NBC Universal staff will support the coverage from Italy and the Broadcast Center in Connecticut. NBC will deliver more than 230 hours of Winter Games programming, the most ever for a Winter Olympics.
If you're not happy with Punxsutawney Phil's prediction, you're not alone. A lot of folks feel a significant shift in their mood and motivation during the winter months.
And whether Phil is right or not, there are some things that you can do to give your blahs a boost. Mandy Gaither has more on how to beat the 6 more weeks of winter blues.
They do more than just predict the weather. Groundhogs whistle when alarmed. They're the largest member of the squirrel family, have a constant need to gnaw, and if you hide out to survive harsh winters, you have more in common with these guys than you may realize.
As humans, we're animals too, so we can be vulnerable to hibernation, and some people are just much more vulnerable.
Clinical psychologist Craig Sawchuk with Mayo Clinic says when it's dark and cold outside, it's not uncommon for people to feel the winter blues. Symptoms may include wanting to sleep more, a drop in energy, feeling sad or down, having heavy limbs, and craving carbohydrates, which may lead to weight gain.
And then the spring and summer months, we get back to our usual baseline.
Whether Phil's right or not, you can beat the blues before spring is sprung. First, Sawchuk says lifestyle factors like exercising, staying connected, and maintaining a regular sleep schedule while avoiding oversleeping can all help. So can light therapy. He says using a light box can improve your mood. There's also cognitive behavioral therapy and medication management.
When those symptoms start to become more prominent, they start to cause problems in day-to-day living, then that's when we look at a difference between just having winter blues versus actually being a problem of clinical concern.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Yeah, and seasonal affective disorder usually gets real bad once we head into February, and whoa, we are here. So just letting you know, more winter weather is possibly on the way. Some decent accumulations, especially from Morganton up to Mount Airy. We'll talk about the Charlotte's probabilities of seeing any snow or sleet accumulations, and also a first look at the weekend forecast. See you soon.
7:48 now. The North Carolina coast is still feeling the impacts days after this latest winter storm. Take a look at this video. This is from Buxton, North Carolina, where 2 more homes collapsed Monday morning. The Outer Banks has now lost 4 homes in just the last few days. That brings the total to 31 houses lost along Hatteras Island since 2020. Sam Walker from OBX News joined our team here on WCNC Plus to break down what's happening along the coast and explains how it could get worse.
We're pretty much right on high tide right now. There's 2 more in Buxton. It looks like they may go at any moment. So we've had to deal with that. We had 3 feet of sand pushed on Highway 12 on Pea Island between Oregon Inlet and Rodanthe. We had 3.5 feet of water come in off the Sound in Hatteras Village and 2.5 feet in Frisco. We've had just about every impact you can imagine out of this storm.
And again, when those people built those homes decades ago, I'm sure they had no idea something like this would ever happen.
No, it's really sad to see because we are literally losing more and more of our Outer Banks every single storm.
Yeah.
And most of the time you're like, oh, well, it's the winter time. We don't have to worry about this. Well, they refer to these systems sometimes as winter canes. So this is also known as a bomb cyclone. You probably heard this. This is actually a term called bombogenesis. That just means when a low pressure system bombs out. That means it's a rapid drop in its low pressure. So moves 24 millibars in about 24 hours. So just remember 24 and 24. And whenever that happens, you have a quickly intensifying low pressure system, which can have the force up to hurricane force sustained winds sometimes, or at least gusts. I was mentioning this on WCNC Charlotte. The worst one that I can remember, I grew up in New England, was 1978. I was around then, but they had a reported wind gusts of 111 miles per hour in Situate, Massachusetts. So huge, big time systems. And oftentimes they filter in that cold air that can lead to some big time snowstorms. And that's exactly what we saw across the Carolinas. Interesting stat. All 100 counties in North Carolina, we have exactly 100, saw some sort of snow accumulation, where the Raleigh area actually saw the least. Here is that big bomb cyclone that's turned out to sea. We don't have to worry about it now. Now we just have more clouds that are starting to roll back in. Not anticipating a super sunny day, not like what we saw a couple of days ago. Instead, you're going to have some clouds that will have some breaks, but the clouds are going to be the dominant feature throughout today. And we have been slowly warming up each day. We're going to continue that trend. We were below freezing Saturday as, of course, all that snow was coming down. We did get up to 37, then to 42, and we're another 5 degrees warmer today, around 47 degrees. So even though we're not seeing a lot of sunshine, the clouds, I think, are thin enough that we are dealing with a decent amount of solar radiation and some melting today. And then tomorrow will be cooler with rain, and then we start to cool down before we start to warm back up. So there is some hope. The chances for rain are possible this evening, but the main window of opportunity that I'm really focusing in on is Wednesday afternoon, heading into your Wednesday evening. At that point, it is likely that we could even see a changeover to a wintry mix, especially the further north that you go. So for today, we're dry. By the time you get to the evening, we have a chance for maybe a trace of rain across the Charlotte area, more so some measurable rain, less than 1/10 of an inch up in the mountains. And then it's the early morning hours that we start to see a little bit of rain down here to the south, and it's mainly going to be about the middle of the afternoon that we really start to see the widespread heavier rain. So I think we have some light rain that starts to pick up early afternoon, mid to late afternoon. It's really coming down, and once the sun sets, that's where it's game on as far as winter weather goes. These deep blues are showing, I think, more of a rain-snow mix, then followed by some accumulating wet snow. So this is a very wet snow because temperatures are so close to that freezing point. Chance for about 1 to 2 inches are possible right in this zone. Meanwhile, watch what happens right around Charlotte. This is 6 o'clock. Let's move forward. This is 9 o'clock. At that point, you're seeing rain mixing in with snow, and I think you're even seeing more sleet. So some sleet pellets are going to be a possibility. And I think a couple of tenths of sleet is not out of the question, but mainly north of I-85 is where we're seeing this. And eventually we're going to see a full changeover to some snow flurries that are going to be flying heading into your Thursday. So that could cause some problems, could more delays for Thursday, and especially the days after. How much rain we're going to see? I think up to about 1/4 inch is going to be a possibility. So think about it. If we don't evaporate a lot of that, it could refreeze over even a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch the further southeast you go. And the snowfall is mainly bullseyed right in here. But you notice these totals really, really low across the Charlotte area. I think the boom would be maybe a 1/2 inch of snow and sleet. I was thinking well north of Charlotte. But right now models are really indicating about 1/10 of an inch, maybe 2/10 of an inch around the I-85 corridor at least. All right, let's get right over to Majestic. So far it has been a decent start. We start here on I-85.
Let's give you a live camera look. This is going to be I-85 here out near Hickory Grove, where, yeah, conditions have been all right. We haven't seen anything too serious, and traffic isn't quite as busy as it typically would be. Of course, the kids are home from school today for most areas, and not everyone is back at work yet. So this is what it looks like. Still busy nonetheless. Now, typically we would have a whole lot of red right now, heading close to that 8 o'clock hour. We don't have any of that, but we do still have a couple of things to let you know about. A new crash here. We'll zoom it in. This is where it's going to be, where we're seeing the oranges and the yellows. It's on South Tryon Street between Yancey Road and Clanton Road. This is our newest wreck where we do have some delays coming in. Just to the south of it, not too far away, this is on South Boulevard between I-485 and East Westinghouse Boulevard. This is going to be the second crash to let you know. And then this here, this is just a car that's in the middle of the street at this point. They're trying to clear it. It's just south of Uptown. Selwyn Ave at Runnymede Lane. We'll give you some more updates on your traffic report coming up soon, guys.
All right, Majestic, thanks. Today marks 156 years since the ratification of the 15th Amendment.
The amendment banned U.S. states from preventing men of color from voting. Women of all races had to wait another 50 years for the right to cast ballots. Neither constitutional amendment was enough to guarantee Black Americans could access the polls. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 enforced the right to vote for all adult citizens. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll make sure that you keep it right here streaming on WCNC Plus.
We're trying so hard to get back to normal. Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Chris Mulcahy. Temperatures right now rocking the lower 20s. We'll be zooming back to about 47 before you know it. And clouds pretty much taking over for today. I think it's going to mostly cloudy to an overcast day. So majority clouds throughout. They're thin enough that we are getting enough solar radiation to melt some more of that snow away. Plus temperatures above freezing definitely help. 37 though tonight. How nice is that? We had a couple of days recently that we didn't even reach this for our highs. So an above freezing low. That's the first time since January 23rd. Mostly cloudy to overcast, still staying overnight with a slight chance for a little bit of rain. 7-day forecast brought to you by the Jerry Hunt Super Center shows that rain takes over Wednesday afternoon. Will even be heavy at times, changing to a sleet, snow, and rain mix by the evening. So we could have light snow and sleet accumulation there, down to 40 and then back to the 50s. All right, Majestica has a few incidents to mention.
Let's get to it. This is going to be what I-77 looks like this morning. This is mile marker 23 out near Gilead, where conditions are looking all right. A few incidences that we are covering for you all on WCNC Plus. But one thing to know before you head out the door, this is our newest crash right here. It's just south of Uptown. It's on South Tryon Street between Yancey Road and Clanton Road. We do have some delays coming in because of that crash.
Streaming live at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start things off with a check of your forecast. If you are tired of winter, well, it continues. Chris joins us now with details on our forecast and some pretty pictures to see.
Yeah, like I said, I reached out on Facebook and said, show me some of your snowman creations, because these guys probably going to start melting away before you know it, because we have a much warmer forecast. So I'm going to continue to feature your snowmen, your snow women throughout WCNC Plus. Here are the two newest submissions that I just pulled. This is Bill and Jill to the right here. This is sent in by Amanda Yao's 14-year-old son, and then Jake Snowman from Mooresville. Look at that, so your height too. Wow. All right, so great snowmen across the board. Kim, JT, and I built one yesterday. We had a blast, and I've been mentioning, I think today is really the last day to do so, because what's going to happen is that snow is going to soften up with a little bit more rain. That's going to be a little bit more problematic for some of you, and then also could refreeze with some ice. So I think this is really the prime time before we go any further. So let's get right to it. So in general, it's still a below average trend. We have 47 degrees for today's high. 54 is where we should be all in all. And I mentioned this stat not too long ago that overnight tonight we are going to have lows that are above freezing. The last time that we did that was actually on January 23rd. And the last time that we had an above average high was on January 22nd. So it's been almost 2 weeks since we've done that. And our clouds are also sticking around for most of the day. And I've also been mentioning our snow potential that we have on the latter part of the forecast, really heading into your Wednesday. So here's where that is. This is not a big deal for Charlotte. I just want to let you know. A lot of people are saying, I was like, oh no, here we go again. And a lot of people are messaging me about what's going to happen around Valentine's Day, which is a lot of online hype. So let's not worry about that. Let's need the focus on the near term. This is going to be really a slight chance that we have some sleet and some snow with some rain mainly to the north. And then it starts to fill in the gaps, I think, on and off through this morning. But the good thing is those temperatures are above freezing for the most part. I do think we get a little bit dicey with some icing, especially on elevated surfaces right around Morganton over to Hickory, because temperatures are very close to freezing there. But watch what happens during the middle of your Wednesday afternoon. The rain is going to completely take over, and it will be heavy at times. So that's a little concerning. I think we'd have up to a ½ inch of rain in some spots. And think about that. That's not going to evaporate right away. But then you also, as temperatures start to drop once the sun sets to the north, really north of the I-40 corridor, that heavier rain could actually lead to some heavier snow. I think initially it's falling almost as a white rain before it finally starts to accumulate a little bit. So 1 to 2 inches of additional snow for the foothills and the mountains is not out of the realm of possibility. Meanwhile, that area of pink that you see could be a brief freezing rain followed by sleet. So a little bit of icing, and also a quick little changeover is also going to be a possibility here. So that little warm nose is going to affect us. And I even think that you could have a full changeover to snow, or at least some snow flurries on the back edge of this as that low pressure system starts to pull back out to sea. So I just want to let you know our rain ranges. We are seeing anywhere for up to about a quarter inch to seeing a little bit less. Just really just depends where you are. And as far as that snowfall potential goes, there's still a lot of question marks. Tomorrow I think we'll have a better idea, but you can see that little bullseye from Morganton up to Mount Airy. That's where you could see a lot more of it. It just depends on how much is going to fall as rain and how much is going to fall as snow. So that's kind of the undecided realm that we're at. But regardless, if you live south of Charlotte, it does not look like it's going to be cold enough for you to have anything besides maybe a burst of flurries. So maybe a trace heading into Thursday morning. And then the back edge of this, I don't like where temperatures are going on Friday. So I think that we will evaporate some of that water up during your Thursday afternoon because sunshine comes back out, but we will have a deeper freeze and more black ice on Friday morning. So still some problems with this event, and then the refreeze on Friday that likely is going to delay some of those kiddos heading back to school, so parents may be not happy about that. But let's get to your 7-day forecast. Lisa just gave me a look. 40 degrees on Thursday, around 50 degrees on Friday, and we see a push, an attempt to get back to normal on Saturday. We have a little mini drop where it looks like I think we're going to avoid any precipitation from that passing front, but that will cool us down for Super Bowl Sunday, but then right back to the mid-50s, even challenging 60 degrees the following week. So we're almost there. Just have to get through this 7-day and then warmer horizons on the way. All right, Majestic, what do people need to know to start off the morning commute?
Good morning, everyone. Well, we've had a handful of ongoing minor crashes and significant crashes. We haven't seen those, so at least we got that going for us. What wanted to show you this live camera look. This is I-77 over 277. You can see I-77 heading southbound is a little busy at times. We're seeing some red popping up here on my map, and this is what we would typically see as we're now in that 8 o'clock hour, but I think we'd honestly see much more of those delays if we were kind of seeing our typical day with kids heading back to school without the snow still on the ground. We do have a couple of new things, though. I wanted to zoom it into Uptown. This is where we do have some delays that are ongoing. Really, southbound lanes on I-77. That's that congestion that I just showed you with stop and go traffic there. The closest wreck to it is not on I-77. It's on South Tryon Street between Yancey Road and Clanton Road. I don't have any cameras on this, but there does seem to be a small delay with that crash. Allow for a few extra minutes if you're heading out that direction. We'll give you another update on those roads coming up soon.
Back to a breaking news update we're following. A search now underway for a Salisbury man who was shot by an officer. The whole situation started yesterday just before noon on Sandalwood Court. You see it here. Newton police responded to a 911 trespassing call. While searching, police say 18-year-old Amon Henderson charged at them. He was shot in the leg and hospitalized up at Baptist Hospital in Winston-Salem. But police tell us he was then released from the hospital without their knowledge. There are now multiple warrants out for his arrest. They say he's considered to be armed and dangerous. If you know where he is, call police immediately.
A new safety audit finds 18 areas where Charlotte's transit system is falling short. The Federal Transit Administration has been investigating CAT safety measures following the stabbing death of Irina Zarutska on the light rail last year. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us live this morning. He's along the light rail in South End with a breakdown of that report and how city leaders are responding. Richard.
Yeah, good morning to you, Lisa. Good morning, Ben. A good Tuesday morning to you folks watching us on the Plus. That report doesn't paint the CATS light rail system in the best light. And it says that actually, if you ride it, you're probably more prone to violence than riding any other light rail or transit system around the area. Now, it's a scathing federal audit that's put Charlotte area transit systems leadership under some intense scrutiny. Federal transit officials say serious safety failures inside CATS puts riders and employees at risk, and they're demanding immediate action. The Federal Transit Administration held the audit. It identified 18 major violations, including weak security planning, poor tracking of safety threats, and failure to properly train staff to handle violent situations. Now, the review launched after the fatal stabbing on the light blue line of Irina Zarutska, and investigators found violence on Charlotte's transit system is now 3 times the national average, with assaults on transit workers 5 times higher than similar systems nationwide. Federal officials called the problem systematic, warning they reflect years of breakdowns in oversight and accountability. City leaders for their part say more police patrols and security measures are already underway, but federal regulators are making it clear. Now, these changes must happen fast, or Charlotte's transit system could face some serious consequences.
We can have committees, we can have a plan, but it's not enough to just have a plan on paper. We need real changes that people can see and feel when they ride. This report is not about blame, it's about identifying problems and fixing them.
And now the CAT system has some 30 days to fix or answer some of these questions. If they fail to do so, they could lose federal funding. We're right here in the South End. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Richard, thank you. More developments this morning. CATS announced its buses and Blue Line service will operate on a normal schedule today. Express bus service and CATS Micro will also have a normal schedule. Customers are asked, though, to prepare for possible delays. The Gold Line remains suspended.
Folks down in South Carolina seeing similar conditions there. According to the Highway Patrol, they are still seeing drivers struggling on some of the roads with black ice, saying it's important that folks not let their guard down this week.
Have patience. A lot of the back roads, our secondary roads, are still very icy. So just when you leave your house, know that there's a possibility for black ice. Of course, a lot of times you can't see it until you're already on it. So just remember to slow down and take your time.
Highway Patrol also says troopers responded to a total of 131 crashes, helping 92 stranded drivers over the weekend. Officials also remind you to slow down as some roads are clearer than others. Meantime, Charlotte Fire says it responded to more than 1,100 calls for service since Friday. Crews have faced below freezing temperatures, icy roads, snow across the city, making their job all the more difficult. Charlotte Fire says crews responded to 6 fires, 55 crashes, and hundreds of medical calls. Shout out to those teams for making it all happen.
We appreciate what they do. Before we head to break, here is an exclusive shopping deal for our viewers.
Hey everybody, here at ShopTVDeals.com, we love to bring you products that actually do a great job and make your life easier. Listen, I got 2 boys at home. They are so messy. I spend half my life cleaning, but I'm about to up my cleaning game big time because of this. It is the Zippy Spin and Steam. Let me show you real quick how it works since it's so easy. You just fill this little canister up with water. You attach it there on the back. You hit the steam button right here on the front, and within 15 seconds, you're gonna have steam, and then on top of that, you hit this button, and those 2 cleaning pads at the bottom start to spin. So you're getting the best of both worlds, the power of steam and the power of spin. So let's take care of these 2 messes here on the kitchen floor. Ketchup and mustard, just a few swipes with the Zippy Spin and Steam, and these messes are gonna go bye-bye. It's so light, it works so well, and it's just water, no chemicals, so it's safe for kids and grandkids and pets, and it kills 99.9% of germs. You're getting a deep clean and you're sanitizing all at the same time. The Zippy also transforms into a handheld steamer. All these attachments come with it. You can steam clothes, you can do your windows, clean the barbecue grill, the oven range, even really sticky messes like syrup. It does so much, and you're gonna get a great deal, 50% off. It costs you about $150. For more information, go to the QR code on your screen or check us out at ShopTVDeals.com.
The time is now 8:14. The Department of Homeland Security plans to issue body cameras to all its federal officers on the ground in Minneapolis. This announcement comes after Senate Democrats and President Trump reached a deal to temporarily extend DHS funding for 2 weeks.
That funding bill is currently heading to the House. Reed Binion reports as protests continue.
They generally tend to be good for law enforcement because people can't lie about what's happening.
President Donald Trump reacting to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's announcement that all DHS officers on the ground in Minneapolis will be issued body cameras.
Generally speaking, I think 80% good for law enforcement.
Noem said the body camera program will be expanded nationwide as funding is available, with her department deploying cameras to DHS law enforcement across the country. This comes amid a nationwide backlash after the separate fatal shootings last month of two protesters by federal agents in Minneapolis, Renee Good and Alex Preddy.
People from all walks of life in the United States are very upset.
On Monday, a judge lifted his order requiring federal investigators to preserve evidence from the Preddy shooting scene. The judge said federal officials had assured him the evidence would be properly maintained. Also Monday, authorities in Minnesota ruled Preddy's death a homicide, meaning it was caused by another person as opposed to being an accident, suicide, natural causes, or undetermined.
As we gather here tonight, I just want to thank everybody for coming out and remembering Alex.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Nearly 2 weeks after they were detained by ICE agents, 5-year-old Liam Ramos and his father have returned to their home in Minnesota. The two were detained at their home as Liam was getting out of school and have since been in a Texas immigration detention facility. The mayor is grateful for the reunion, but says this is only the beginning of the road to recovery for the family.
We know how much trauma is going to be going through the family for so long, and the community is ready to support them. We're just happy to have him home, but we have so many people who have been taken.
As Liam and his father get reunited, the mayor says this reunion is just the first of many.
Journalist Don Lemon says federal agents arrested him at his LA hotel last week, even though his attorney had already arranged for him to turn himself in. He described being grabbed and handcuffed in the hallway without being shown a warrant right away. Lemon explained that the charges stem from his coverage of a protest at a Minnesota church where he says he was working strictly as a journalist. He plans to plead not guilty and says he won't be silenced as that case moves forward. We are recognizing a historic moment in North Carolina. Stay with us to hear the milestone that reshaped the state's highest court.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on WCNC Plus. And it is February 3rd. Yesterday was the 2nd, and that, of course, was Groundhog Day. You probably heard all about Phil, but what about all the other ones? Unless you were actually searching for it, probably not. Unless you follow Buckeye Chuck. The only brave one in the north is like, hey, do you know what? More spring. However, there was a rhino in Wisconsin that we showed earlier that said spring is right around the corner. And General Beauregard Lee in Georgia said 6 more weeks of winter. Staten Island Chuck, that is claimed to be the most accurate since 1981, also said 6 weeks more winter. Now, North Carolina specifically, we have 2 big ones. Snurd from Garner, North Carolina. If you don't know where that is, it's south of Raleigh. And then 6 more weeks of winter is what Snurd said. And Tater from Chimney Rock actually does double duty every Groundhog Day. And Tater this time said, hey, alas, the Western Carolinas will see a spring surge right around the corner. And things are actually going to be trending that way, at least in the near term. Also, Tater's Super Bowl prediction, the Seattle Seahawks winning the Super Bowl. And I would say I would take this with a grain of salt, but honestly, he predicted the Chiefs winning, he predicted the Eagles winning, and we'll see if he is going to be 3 for 3. So Tater and Snurd, thank you so much. I've been showing your photos all morning long, and I asked for snowmen, and I actually got 2 igloos. I thought this is really cool and very well built. So Jessica Burke, you see the igloo on the left. If you look really closely, there's somebody inside. And then we also have Christine Manning that sent in the other igloo. So really cool. You guys did a lot of awesome things with the snow. We don't get this much snow that often. Literally the last time we had this much fall at once was 20 years ago. So I'm happy to see everyone taking advantage of it. Like this gigantic one. I'm just going to cover up this terrible towel. I'm just joking, but no, seriously. Clover, South Carolina. And then Snowbella. So Eva sent in her grandkids, granddaughter, and grandson made this lovely snow lady. And you are a beautiful lady, by the way. And then 2 upside down snowmen. I actually have never seen this before. This is really cool. Paula Wolf on the right. And then Brandon sent in the one to the left where said Kimberly's was upside down. Very cool. So building a snowman, the window is actually starting to close. The reason why is we're about to get some rain. Temperatures are about to be above freezing. We're going to melt a little bit more away. But it's this time that it still is nice for snowball. So perfect to get a couple more pelts in. And then also, I think you still have enough of it that's untouched that you're going to be able to make that snowman. So if you still want to do that and it's on your bucket list, today is the last day. We are anticipating rain, but not right away. Rain doesn't really arrive until really overnight tonight. So we could have a wet start tomorrow. Most of it, I think, is going to accumulate during your Wednesday afternoon, even a chance for a wintry mix. So Charlotte, you literally have a chance during your Wednesday evening for rain, a rain-snow mix, snow, sleet, freezing rain, and then eventually just flurry. So all those could happen slowly at one period, but the further north you go, you're going to see a little bit more activity. Right now it looks to be a very low accumulation, but still some impacts heading into your Thursday morning, and then the refreeze heading into your Friday. But then we got sunshine heading into the weekend. Nice to see the lower 50s back in action. It's been a while, been well over a week since we were back to 50 degrees, where we should be around 54 this time of the year. All right, Majestic was talking about a couple of incidents. Now we're on I-77 with her.
Yeah, I wanted to show you a couple things because it's not perfect, but it is definitely a little slower than we would typically see on a normal day as people are heading off to work. Typically would be making sure those kids are up and at it ready for school, but that's not quite the case today. We do have a couple of new things to let you know about. I mean, a very active map here, still indicating that we have our fair share of problems. This one here is out in Gaston County. It's going to be on I-85 northbound between Belmont to Abbey, exits 26 to exits 27. That's where there is an active crash there. Again, I-85 northbound lanes. Closer to Charlotte, right in Uptown, I should say, this is going to be I-77 southbound at West Boulevard, where we do have slow-moving traffic because of a stalled vehicle. Not because of a crash, just a car that is stalled out in the middle of the street. This is the last one I want to let you know about. This one here, I'm seeing delays still all over the place. It's going to be on South Tryon Street between Yancey Road and Clanton Road. I would say those are the 3 biggest incidents that we currently have in place. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll take another check to give you some more updates. Guys.
Majestic things today in not only Black history, but North Carolina history. Henry Fry was sworn in as the state's first African-American Supreme Court justice.
His appointment in 1983 marked a major milestone in the fight for representation and equality within the state's highest court. 16 years later, in 1999, another first, Governor Hunt named Fry to the unexpired term of retiring Chief Justice Burley Mitchell. A statue honoring both Fry and his wife Shirley on display in Greensboro at Center City Park. She actually supported several community groups there in the Triad, as well as worked for our sister station up in Greensboro.
Interesting. Who knew that? All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break and make sure that you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Would you look at that? We're now up to 25.
How about that?
Before we were saying 23, but things are improving. We'll be back with a check of traffic and weather. Stay with us.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're up to 25 degrees. Ooh, warming on up. Much better than yesterday. We had a low of 10 and 24 degrees around Hickory, 22 in Statesville. Many of us were in the single digits at this point, so what a difference a day makes. And all in all, clouds are winning out. You're still going to see some areas of blue. You're probably seeing it out the window right now. And then temperatures get into the lower to the mid 40s for the afternoon under a mostly cloudy to an overcast sky. Slight wind chill, but nothing too big. And our overnight forecast is actually above freezing across the board. That's a nice little treat. Haven't done that for about a week and a half. Still staying overcast to mostly cloudy through the overnight. And then here comes the rain. Slight chance for a little bit of rain in the morning, but it takes over. It's even going to be heavy at times the middle of the afternoon. Just kind of keep that in mind. And here's what it could look like by Wednesday evening. Chance for a wintry mix. Beyond that, we are cooling down on Thursday, back to lower 50s though Friday and Saturday. All right, Majestic, what do you have to say?
Good morning, everyone. We do have a handful of ongoing crashes that we've been following for you this morning. Some minor delays as well. We're following all of this for you on WCNC Plus. You can join us over there. But one thing to know is this here. It's I-77 southbound at West Boulevard. That's where we do have a stalled vehicle that's really backing things up between exits 9 and exits 10. Again, more details on WCNC Plus. See you there soon.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus. The time is 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Right now, leftover snow and ice still causing a lot of problems out there on the roads. Many school districts remain closed or remote.
And child care centers also navigating those same challenges as the school districts. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richard joins us live this morning. She's in West Charlotte with what goes into making those decisions. Destiny.
Yeah, even though the snow has stopped falling, the impacts are still being felt across our area. CMS has decided once again to close some schools today because of the winter weather, just because the roads are not yet safe for the buses, for students and staff to make it in. Now, district officials say this decision is because of safety, with crews continuing to clear ice and debris from campuses and checking bus routes across the county. CMS says several factors go into whether schools close, delay, or go remote, including temperatures, visibility, and the condition of neighborhood streets and main roads. Those same challenges are also facing child care providers and preschools like Leaf Spring schools. Crews there are working to clear parking lots, sidewalks, and walkways, but ice remains a major concern.
It's a little bit challenging because there's a shortage of ice melt. And so what we're finding is that we're talking to our directors, we're in contact with some of our parents, we're driving the roads ourselves around the school. So that gives us a lens for how the parents and children can get to work safely.
And we learned from Leaf Spring Schools this morning that its South Charlotte locations will open at 10 this morning, and the Cornelius location will open at 10:30. So just like school districts, they make these decisions on a day-by-day basis, depending on the conditions. If you'd like to know what about school closures in your child's area, we have an updated list on the WCNC mobile app. Live in West Charlotte, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Destiny, thanks. Right now, Concord Police investigating a deadly shooting where 4 people were shot. Take a look at this map. It happened Sunday night on Farrington Drive Northwest. That's right off Davidson Highway. Officers tell us they found 2 people dead, 2 others injured. They're now asking anybody with information, come forward.
An investigation is underway as we speak after an Amtrak train that was headed to Charlotte collided with a car in Landis. Police tell us this happened just after 6 Monday evening on Ryder Avenue near Main Street. They say that driver escaped from the car just before the collision. No one was hurt. We've learned that train continued on its route after a 2.5-hour delay.
You may have seen this video over the last 2 days. The moment a train hit a semi in Gastonia, it happened during the weekend storms. Luckily, the driver escaped safely. Railroad officials, though, and law enforcement say if you find yourself in a similar situation, contact the emergency notification system on blue signs you see right there. But a lot of folks say they wouldn't have even thought to look for that blue sign.
I don't know if anybody is going to sit there and call a phone while, a train is coming. I'm thinking about saving my life first.
Think about that. No, the sign's too small. They need to make it bigger. That's what I would do.
Railroad officials reminding drivers stay alert, never race a train, and look for those blue emergency notification signs. A new scam alert this morning. If you own a home in Gaston County, listen up. Officials say thieves are sending fake invoices requesting payment for zoning permits. These invoices may show the county's name, logo, letterhead, looking real official. They ask folks to wire money to them. If you receive a notice, do not send money or share any personal or financial information. Instead, contact the county.
All right, 8:34. Now let's check back in with Chris. Details on our forecast on this Tuesday. We're warming up. That's a good thing.
Yeah, we are. We were actually joking earlier that all of a sudden we're like, oh, 23, 25, this is great. And a couple of weeks ago, we were like, oh no, because we just dropped down to 10 degrees. And then before that was 14 degrees. So boy, did we move the bar down. Now, here's the deal with today. We're going to see more clouds, but this is a good testament of what you're going to see, at least early on. We're seeing a lot of upper level clouds. So I think at one point, once it does look totally overcast, it's misleading because we're still getting enough sunshine to warm us up. So that's why I still have a high of 47 degrees for today. If we get more of this scenario, I'm talking about 48, 49, but that's that's going to be a warmer environment because of that. But number two, even though it might look cloudy, you're still seeing a decent amount of the sun's rays that's going to reach the surface. So keep that in mind. Here's a look at that cloud cover. It's a little bit thinner down towards the south, but we have a good deck of this that's starting to move in, and a low pressure system eventually is going to crank things up, allowing for a little bit of rain turning into a lot of rain. 30 degrees, that was our high on Saturday. 42 yesterday, 5 degrees warmer today, and then we start heading the wrong direction, back down in the lower 40s because of cloud cover and rain, and then behind that system in general. And then we have another little come up back to 50 degrees and an even bigger warm up for the long range forecast. But as of right now, rain is likely on Wednesday afternoon. I'm not discounting that you're not going to see it later on this evening, but I think most of today is dry. Some overnight rain during the early morning hours, but mainly during the late morning to the early afternoons where we first see the big surge, and then it fully takes over by Wednesday afternoon heading into the evening. So let's get right there. Seeing some brighter white, meaning a cloudier sky by day's end. And then eventually here's that rain that I'm talking about. Slight chance that you could be interrupted by a very light rain shower mid to late afternoon. It's even turning moderate right here along the Tennessee border, but it's rain because temperatures are above freezing. That's the big deal here. And then here it comes. Seeing more rain really starting to surge round 1 in the morning. Round 2, check out these darker greens that start to flourish. I think we have at least up to a 1/4 inch of rainfall that could potentially come from this, even up to a 1/2 inch depending where you are. But then we start to shift things over to more, oh yeah, it's winter, because temperatures will be right around freezing around the I-40 corridor, so we could have some quick snow accumulations with some very heavy snowfall from Morganton through Hickory up to around North Wilkesboro. That's early to mid-evening, and then things will start to thin out slightly, but then this actually could turn into some decent sleet as well right here along the I-85 corridor. So just tempered that we could have a little bit of a wintry mess real quickly on top of what's already been a wintry mess. And the further south you go, still dealing with mainly rain. So it's a difference of a couple degrees between all rain or you seeing a rain-snow mix and some sleet. So I think what really is going to happen here for the Charlotte area, I think the 485 loop is going to have all the different types of precipitation. I'm even talking about freezing rain briefly, mixing in with some sleet by the middle of the evening. So if you don't need to travel, I would say late evening, I just would try to avoid it. But luckily our low temperatures aren't dropping down super low. I think it's either side of 30 degrees, but that's still going to support some flurries to begin your Thursday. So that could impact some school activities again. As far as how much rain that we could see, it's all over the place. Some of us seeing up to about a 1/4 inch when this is all said and done. But the further north you go, definitely the higher chance for some snow. And here's what that looks like. Snowfall showing upwards to about 1 to 2 inches from Morganton up to Wilkes County. And then just seeing a lot of decimal points here close to Charlotte. So right now we have a 60% chance for at least a 1/10 of an inch of sleet mixing with snow here in the northern part of Mecklenburg County and Charlotte in general. As much as the boom forecast, I think for at least the near Charlotte area from Gastonia to Concord, it could be a 1/2 inch of snow or sleet. Something that we're still watching, still a lot of uncertainties there. Just note that you're going to have a quick burst of some of that winter weather when all is said and done. I think the biggest impact that we're going to have is we're going to melt away some more of the ice. We're going to also evaporate some of that rain that fell. But Friday morning, we have a much deeper freeze. I have a low that's actually dropping down into the 20s again, the lower 20s. So that's where I think we're going to have the most black ice on Friday morning. But luckily, we're back to the lower 50s. A little cool down for Super Bowl Sunday, and then boom, right back to 55 on Monday. All right, there it is. That concludes this weather report. All right, what's the newest update with traffic, Majestic?
Let's get a live camera look. This time, we're taking you up to the mountains because remember, this is still going to be a watch spot, a trouble spot, especially neighborhoods, secondary roads. This right here doesn't look too bad. It's right there on King Street in Boone. Zooming in, you can see roads are continuing to look nice. Now, a little closer to Charlotte, we're not seeing any problems on I-77, but yes, it is busy. Now that we are into that 8:30 time frame, this is mile marker 8 out near Remount. Conditions are flowing okay, but of course we're starting to see more congestion as more people are heading towards uptown. One thing to let you know about is that we have a stalled vehicle. It's going to be on I-77 southbound at West Street. It was in the middle of the road. They have since cleared it, so I don't see as much red that I did just about 5 minutes ago. But another thing here, this is not on I-77, but it's really close to it. It's on South Tryon Street between Yancey Road and Clanton. Whenever we have yellows and oranges, that just means traffic is probably moving a little bit slower to try to get around it. And then the last thing to let you know about before perhaps you're heading out this morning is this. It's going to be South Boulevard northbound between I-45 and East Westinghouse Boulevard. Minimal impacts. We're seeing mainly those southbound lanes being impacted there, though. So we'll keep you up to date as we continue to follow this, guys.
Majestic thinks Starbucks may still dominate the coffee world, but new numbers show a change may be coming. We're going to talk about the growing competition next.
And a reminder, Scouting for Food's happening now. And this is our 34th year we're teaming up with the Scouts. This week they're going to be out dropping off those door tags. If you get one, they're going to be back out on Saturday to pick up your donation. Just leave your bag full of goods there on your doorstep by 9 a.m. And if you don't get a door tag, no biggie, you can still help. Text Scout for Food, you see it right there, to 50155. .43 right now here on WCNC Plus on a Tuesday morning. Live pictures right now over uptown. Still chilly as you head out the door. Temperatures in the 20s. Chris is standing by. He's got another look at your weather impact forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes. Well, the ice surge in Minnesota has disrupted several businesses.
Small businesses have been feeling the hit the most. Annabelle Childers reports from Minnesota.
In Richfield.
Right now it's just a ghost town.
Mary's Glamour Beauty Salon is an echo of what it was just 2 months ago.
Usually on a weekend it's full. It's full capacity, and right now we've been having like 5 clients throughout the whole day.
Zayuri Hernandez Tovar says her family has owned this salon for 5 years, but since ICE began conducting operations in the area,
our business decreased like 95%, I will say.
Clients are scared, and they're staying home not just from the salon, but from many shops in this strip mall.
They're just afraid not to get deported, mainly, but the violence that has created.
The drop in customers causing some businesses, like this one, to close. And Tovar says the financial impact is forcing them to consider it too.
We thought about it, we're thinking about it, but we're not sure yet.
Just down the road, Sabores de Mexico is pushing through similar challenges. But after debating closing for good, they just opened their kitchen back up.
People in the community is asking us to don't do it because they say they need us.
Owner Estela Rasenpor says community support is the reason they're still here, but they need that support to keep coming because no matter how small it might seem, stopping by for a meal or coming here for a haircut could keep these businesses afloat.
Annabelle Childers with that report. The impact of President Trump's trade policies against Canada have become real for hundreds of Ontario auto workers. About 500 General Motors employees have been laid off. Union leaders say up to 1,200 auto workers across the supply chain are expected to lose their jobs. One Canadian industry minister said if GM doesn't want to continue to invest in Canada, then they will invest in other companies.
Americans drinking more coffee than ever before, but fewer are buying it from Starbucks. The company is still the country's largest coffee chain, yet its share of customer spending has slipped as rivals like Dunkin', Dutch Bros, Scooters Coffee, and 7 Brew expand rapidly. New competitors from fast-growing drive-through chains to high-end shops are giving customers more options. Starbucks, trying to keep up, says it's working to improve service, update its menu, and open new store formats to win people back. Analysts say the market, though, is crowded and the company faces tougher competition than it did just a few years ago. Kevin Warsh now in the spotlight after he was nominated by President Trump to become the next chair of the Fed. He's a former federal governor who served during the 2008 financial crisis and worked closely with then Chair Ben Bernanke. He has since become a prominent critic of the Fed's recent approach to inflation and has called for major changes to how the central bank operates. This nomination signals a potential shift in the Fed's direction at a time when interest rates and inflation remain a central concern for many Americans.
Yesterday was a record-tying low temperature. We had 10 degrees, tying the record set back in 1917. So the coldest start, at least tied for the coldest start in Groundhog Day history here in the Charlotte area. This morning's low, 21. That's better. Right between the normal low and the record low, which, by the way, our normal low should be averaging 33 degrees. Coming up, I'm going to show you how many freezing temperatures and also how many above freezing temperatures we have as we're starting to transition to some warmer hope.
We're back with breaking news right now on WCNC Plus in Concord, where police say they have found a missing 18-year-old dead Officers say Yadira Castro was found after an extensive search that began back when her family first reported her missing Sunday morning. Police say Castro was last seen leaving a friend's house and walking home on Pine Street. She was reportedly intoxicated, and officers believe alcohol and extreme cold temperatures contributed to her death. Investigators say there's no evidence of foul play.
Time for a tail wagger from our friends at Animal Care Control, the main office over on Byron Drive, and the satellite shelter over on Toomey Avenue. Right now, there's so many cats and dogs available. Lots, something for everyone at Animal Care Control. Now, you can help. Please adopt. If you can't adopt, you can foster, staycation. That allows the cat or dog to be away for a while. Or you can donate to sponsor a dog or cat's adoption. Log on to animalcareclt.org. That's animalcareclt.org for all of the information on how you can help. It's a big thank you from our friends at Animal Care and Control. Remember to spay and neuter. That's your tail wagger. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
All right, everybody, I want to show you the potential rainfall that we could see heading into your Wednesday evening, and then by your Thursday morning. There's a lot more the further southeast that you go. They could have anywhere from about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch. As for us close to Charlotte, I think it's really up to about a 1/4 inch plus. That really looks to be the norm. And of course, this potentially could mix it in over to a little bit of frozen precipitation. It just really depends on what variety you're going to get. Better chance for snow to the north. Meanwhile, Charlotte is going to see a brief little changeover, and that's primarily going to be in the form of some sleet mixing with snow and even a rain-snow mix. So this is where the scenario really starts to unfold. I think it's really anywhere between about 7 o'clock and midnight that we could have that potential wintry mix that's going to be going on, and then eventually you're going to see a changeover to just a few flurries heading into your Thursday morning. So that brings up our 10-10-10-10 forecast that we have 40 degrees that eventually is going to be the low point over the next 10 days on Thursday. That's behind the system that we see the rain and also a chance for some ice in the mornings. But we're back into the lower 50s on Friday and Saturday before we have 44 and a nice little zoom up back into the lower 60s. Meanwhile, our lows are actually going to be pretty tame on the back end as well, where we're going to be warmer than some of our high temperatures were in most recent days. That we have above freezing low actually overnight tonight heading into tomorrow morning. So that's nice. That means any precip that we have is going to be on just the rain side. I think it's going to be fairly light even if we see anything heading into tomorrow morning. Then we have a couple of dips in the lower to the mid-20s. But I'm not showing you the teens. I'm not showing you a chance of dropping down to 10 degrees, nothing like that. Instead, actually, the warmer air is starting to take over, which isn't unusual for where we should be in February. Usually we start to see more of those 60s starting to pop, especially for the back end of the month. But then there's also a chance for huge temperature swings as we get closer to spring, and that's usually the lead to some severe weather as well. 60%, yeah, it's likely going to rain on Wednesday with that wintry mix chance heading into your Wednesday evening, tapering off into Thursday morning. Other than that, drive through your Super Bowl weekend and for most of next week. All right, Majestic, what are the key points for your morning commute?
It's been pretty quiet. Area roadways continue to look nice and dry. Close to Charlotte, it's still those neighborhood streets, secondary roads, still being mindful that we could still see some slick and icy spots on and off ramps, and definitely still out there in the mountains. This is I-77 out near Remount, where conditions continue to look all right. Still a little bit of a slowdown heading up to I-77. Still a handful of ongoing minor crashes. This will be one of our newest ones. It's on Albemarle Road between Central Avenue and Farm Pond Lane. We are seeing colors popping up in all directions. So this is an accident that did happen there in the intersection, so small delays coming in. Secondary one here is on Harris Boulevard at Rocky River Road. Still seeing some yellow, but not seeing much delays there. And then the last thing to know before you go, we've been following this now for at least the last 30 minutes. I-77 southbound on West Boulevard. There wasn't an accident there, but it was a stalled vehicle actually in the middle of a lane that has since been cleared, so we're starting to see some improvements. Guys?
Well, today happens to be National Missing Persons Day. It's a day to shine the light on the thousands of people who disappear every single year in the United States. It's a reminder of the families who live with all those unanswered questions and the communities that rallied to keep searching.
The day encourages all of us to stay alert, to share information, and to help bring missing loved ones home. Today's show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy Guthrie, has now been declared a missing person, and investigators are treating this case as a crime. The 84-year-old was last seen at her home near Tucson, Arizona, before family reported her missing. Deputies are reviewing security footage as they work to piece together what happened.
All right, approaching 8:55 right now. We're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Coming up at the top of the hour, our own Jane Monreal will take things over from our live Impact studio. She'll have Siemens Energy to talk about their plans to expand here in the Tar Heel State. That's coming your way at the top of the hour, right here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning. Charlotte had a low of 21 degrees. That's great compared to 10 yesterday. 29 degrees right now in Charlotte, 22 for you in Lincoln, and 23. Good morning, Statesville. Not too bad in Iredell County for the time being. And I think that our temperatures are going to be on the up and up. We're talking about our high temperatures reaching about 47 degrees for today. And then we're going to see a little bit of a cool down behind our next potential winter system. So here it is. Once you get to your Wednesday afternoon, I think widespread rain is taking over. There's a chance for a little bit of a wintry mix. Now, there's still some question marks about how much winter mix we're going to see here in the Charlotte area, but it does look like we could briefly change over to some snow, a little bit of sleet, maybe some flurries to start off your Thursday with a better chance for black ice on Friday. But hey, 50s start popping more heading through the weekend into next week, even a chance of the lower 60s. All right, Majestic, what do people need to know about your morning commute?
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Let's take a look. This is going to be I-77. Traffic is dying down. We did rise just a bit as more people are waking up, but this is what we're seeing out near mile marker 7 near Clanton. We haven't had any big accidents this morning, so that's good, although it hasn't been perfect. Still ongoing crashes. This is one of our newer ones. It's right here on Albemarle Road between Central Avenue and Farm Pond Lane. We are seeing delays coming in all directions. Hope you have a great day.